Hello, this is Amy Johnson here with Jackie Ford. We are onewoman.global, and we are here this month to talk about ego, which is a topic Jackie came up with because I think she has some ego stuff we need to look at. I don't know. We're going to throw her in the confessional again on this one. But I love this topic. I don't know what's going to happen or what we're going to talk about, but as soon as she suggested ego as a topic, I thought, yeah, that's cool. Um, so we'll see where it goes, but ego is a funny thing. Ego is something that, for me, it's just like, it's a lot of thinking, and it tends to be a lot of, it's just thought, I mean, of course, but it's that, it's that way of thinking. It's not just thought because we're always thinking, but it's that way of really identifying with our own thinking. Yeah. Like it all looks like it's about us and everything. And we are the center of our own universe. That's just how humans are sort of designed in a sense, like we have this internally generated experience. So of course we are kind of the frame of reference for everything we think. As kind and generous as any of us may be, when we're thinking, it's all sort of just naturally in reference to us, and seen through our lens and all of that. So in a sense, that kind of describes that us focus and that bias that's in everything we see. But I think when we talk about ego, it's the way I see it anyways, it's almost like a level of really attaching to that, putting some importance on that and really kind of just taking it really seriously.
I love this topic of ego. And the reason I wanted to talk about it was because I've had so many clients lately wanting to talk about ego and the problems that they have with their ego. And without thinking, as is usual, sort of Mrs. Ford shooting straight from the hip, I've said to each and all of them, I nursed for God knows many years in the operating theatres. And to this day, I still haven't seen somebody coming in to have their ego surgically removed. Where do you keep it? What do you mean, your ego?
Right.
And it is sort of getting into these sort of deep discussions about, like you said, what is ego? And I love what you said there about it's just the identification of who we are, or who we think we are.
Yeah.
And in that, who we think we are, and there's your clue, who we think we are, it's a thought-based idea of who we are in any given moment in time, whether you're future-pacing that or whether you're looking at that in the past. And all of these clients have been people who, they've been very confident, Amy, very, very confident people. When they were talking, it just sort of struck me that, am I the only human being on the planet that's got a reverse ego? Like, I think nothing of myself. In fact, I love giving myself a good talking to, telling myself that I'm not good enough to do these things, rather than, yes, I'm great, I can do this, and this is wonderful, and this is what's going on. It's kind of like, what happens in my head is, oh no, I don't think you should do that. No, nobody would want to hear about that. No, that's not something. Don't get above yourself. No, don't do this. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know, if there was an ego that we had implanted in our bodies, how come some people got that really, really one that tells them they're amazing, and I get the one that told me, you're not good enough?
Yeah. It's interesting. I think that's ego too. Yeah. I mean, it's still just thoughts about ourselves that we're identifying with and taking seriously. But it's kind of like in popular culture, ego has kind of been associated with this positive, lofty ideas about yourself. But yeah, I mean, your question is a good one. Like, why is it? How is it that sometimes it's this identification with these thoughts about us being wonderful, and other times it's on the flip side? And either way, like just looking at it very simply, it kind of doesn't matter. It's going to mess with you anyway. If you're thinking stuff about yourself that or about anything that you're taking as truth, you're going to run into some problems in life.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, we might all say, oh, I'd rather think I'm too good than not good enough. But I don't know. Either way, it kind of boils down to the same thing, believing, thinking.
Yeah. And that's where the discussions went, Amy. It's kind of like, you think this way, and here's my default position. This is where I go.
Yeah.
But when you start to see through the story of, you're really just making this up, it doesn't have the same hold on you anymore. It's kind of like, oh, there I go again. I'm talking rubbish, or, it doesn't make sense. And seeing it for what it is, it's just an idea. It's a concept.
Yeah.
And concepts are not facts. And that's the discussions that I've enjoyed. And one of my coaching clients, she just saw through it hugely. And as a result of that, she's just creating and creating, and is just in this marvelous phase of her life just now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, because we spoke about it. It's a phase. It may not always be like that. It may be, but it might not always be like that. But start to recognize when those thoughts of ego are either pulling you down or putting you on a lofty pedestal. Just notice the difference. And I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed seeing, again, this different perceptions of how we show up in life, how some people think one way, other people think another way. And that intersperses, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
And how we react to that.
And that's where, I think this is where where this understanding that we speak to is just so much more powerful than anything that's looking at the story. Because every story we tell, like, we are not dumb people. Human beings are very smart, and we are not going to tell a story that has no facts behind it, no proof behind it. We just miss the fact that our facts and our proof are completely biased as well. So, like, you can think like, oh, who would want to listen to this, or why would I do that? And it's not just this random little thought floating out there. You have very biased memories and facts and evidence for why you feel the way you do. So does everyone, to bolster their story, So it's like, when we're mucking around at that level of the content, oh, that's not true, Jackie, people like you, it just doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
But then when you can just go deeper than that and see, what, everyone on earth has their own version of some story, that's where there's that real power. That's where people feel that real freedom.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was watching my daughters, and they remind me so much of myself and Jerry, but also of my parents, especially my dad, in the way that they show up in life, Amy. Very, very humble, but confident in who they are. Attribute things to other people when other people have instigated these other things. They don't steal other people's limelight. They're not interested in that. I guess the phrase is credit where credit is due. Mm-hmm. They don't try to be anything they're not. They just show up in life as them. And people either like them or they don't like them. And I remember sharing a story ages ago about Nikki being on holiday and at this festival in Benicassim with her friend who was very sort of tanned and, sort of very petite, and Nikki's tall and pale-skinned. And she said all the boys were sitting around the campfire trying to impress this girl who looks Spanish. And Nikki said, they weren't interested in talking to me, Mum, but I didn't care. It didn't bother me what they thought of me, because I know who I am, and I could see how they were behaving. And that really blew me away, because to be able to see it for ourselves, what's going on around us doesn't define us, but the egoic stories that we can play in our head can cause us such harm if we believe them. Yeah. And for people to understand, in the way that we're speaking about ego in this podcast, is that it is just a thought-based concept of your identity. That's it. And it isn't an ingrained microchip that you're given from birth that says this is who you are. And this is what can be broken if people speak against it or things don't work out the way you planned it to.
And I love that. And to see that, like, ego, whatever, these stories that we have about ourselves and what's valuable and what's good and not, and all of that, they are shared. They are passed down. Like, there's lots of evidence if we look for it. So all the time, people, like in that situation, if Nikki had said, well, she always gets all the attention, like this is clearly what's valued, like she could have gone there and she would have lots and lots of evidence for that. But and people will do that and want to make it like the truth. Well, yeah, but everybody thinks, oh yeah, but everyone knows this, and it's just one more sneaky way that we're just buying all our own thinking. But for her in that moment to see, I don't care if this happens all the time. I still know that's just what maybe society, maybe boys this age care about, maybe whatever. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't touch me and who I am. That's huge, that's awesome. And we all are up against that, because no matter what our insecurity is or our boosted ego is about, society has an opinion, whatever that means, but that's still just more thought. Still nothing real and true about that. It's just thought that maybe looks and feels a little more true because lots of people might also think it at times.
Yeah. So I'm offering surgical removal of your ego every Wednesday between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 a.m.
It's a quick procedure, huh? Outpatient, in and out.
No anesthetic.
No.
You don't even get a dressing. That's it done. Well, we hope you've enjoyed listening to our short podcast on ego, and we hope that you'll check out some of our courses that will be appearing online very, very soon. As usual, it's been a delight to sit and have a chat with Amy and for you guys to listen, and we love doing these podcasts. So thank you so much for your support. And we hopefully will
see you soon.